Okay, everyone, you know what time it is. Algebra EOC bell work countdown number 22. Yes! Look alive and smell the coffee beans. Here we go. Look enthusiastic. All right, guys. You've had a few minutes to take a look at this, and as you can see, we have yet another graph with a line in it, okay? Just simple observations. And what have I always told you that we should get in the habit of doing when we see a line on a graph is writing y equals mx plus b. Why? Because this is slope-intercept form. It's what we're most familiar with. It reminds us that that is the equation of a line, the formula for the equation of a line, and it gets us in focus. And now let's take a look at what the question is asking, okay? It says the graph of function f is shown. Okay, write a function rule that corresponds to this graph. Now, that is slightly new, okay? Draw your attention to function rule. And what that leads me to remind you is that this line right here, although it is just a line on a graph, that line can be called 5 different things on the Algebra EOC that we need to get comfortable with, that we need to remember. So it could be called this line could be called it could be called a line. It could be called a graph. It could be called a function. It could be called a function rule. Or it could be called an equation. Okay, so guys, I mean, it's bananas. It's crazy, but this line can be called any of the 5 terms here on the Algebra EOC, and we need to be aware of that, not get confused by it, embrace it, get comfortable with it. So this line can be called a line. The line could be called a graph, a function rule, or an equation. It can be called any of those things, okay? So it basically says, write the function rule, okay? Write the function rule that corresponds to this graph, meaning basically what is the equation of this line. So we've already done this to set ourselves up for success, where we rewrite the slope-intercept form, writing y equals blank x plus blank. And all you have to do is fill in the y-intercept, which is where the line crosses over the y-axis, and the slope. So here we have the line, and if you're able to see it in the video here, this is 75. I mean, it's, we're getting exact here, which we do need to be precise. We do need to be exact. We have to have very good attention to detail when we're looking at graphs, when we're looking at tables. We have to, that's what success on the EOC will get you, is making sure that you're paying attention to these details. Okay. So, this line is crossing over the y-axis between 2 and 3. Okay, so it's not at exactly 2.5. It's halfway between 2.5 and 3, so that's 75% of the way. So our y-intercept is at a positive 2.75. Okay, that's where it crosses over the y-axis, right there, in between halfway and 3 and a positive 3. Okay, and then we have to fill in our slope. What is the slope of this line? Well, we can see that we read graphs, you guys, from left to right, and we can see that as we read this graph from left to right, the line is going in the downward direction, and so that tells us we have a negative slope. So go ahead and put the negative there. Okay, and then we have to locate 2 points on the line. So here's our 2 points, and we have to ask ourselves, how did we get from this point to this point? So we had to go down 2 and over 1, 2, 3. So that's our slope, which is 2/3. So here is our, as the question asked us this time, this is our function rule of that line. So that was, hopefully that was helpful. That was your EOC bell work 22.